What is going on, Corner Talk family? It is so good to have you guys back on for another episode. I'm excited for today's guest. This guest goes back to a year in my life where at the time I was going through the biggest transition. In 2018, I just transferred high schools as a senior and grew up going to one school my entire life, having the same friends, same support system, same people, to then leaving due to unforeseen circumstances and not understanding why and having to question God. Are you really in this? God, are you not in this? And this guy has been someone in my life that's been constant, consistent, someone that's spoken to my life, and someone who I've gotten to use the principles that he taught me to teach a lot of you guys, or even while I'm preaching. So without further ado, love to introduce to you Lubbock Christian's head coach, Chris Softley.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good.
Come on.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I know you just got out of the 7-on-7 with Estacado.
That's right.
Did you win?
Yes, we did.
Come on.
Let's go.
See, that's the one thing that I love about Lubbock Christian. And you are not afraid to go up against the public schools. You don't ever shy away from the challenge.
That's right.
So yeah, but Coach, I just wanted to say thank you again for taking the opportunity to join me for this podcast. The values, the principles, the things that you taught me in that time as an 18-year-old kid, still something. I'm turned 25 this year. And it's something that I've gotten to take into my ministry and my church and really get to share with people. But what you instilled in me doesn't go unseen. And so I really do appreciate the time that you took to not just build a football player, but honestly to build a man, and a man that, soon one day have a family and all of that good stuff. But these are values that I really do believe weren't just meant for a football field as much as they transition to real life principles.
That's right. Yeah,
so,
thank you for that.
Absolutely. So will you tell us just a little bit though, who is Chris Softley? What are you doing? You got a family, you got a wife, do you have kids, all of that good stuff. Who is the man, the myth, the legend?
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Chris Softley, born and raised in a small town in Nebraska, and grew up in a sports loving family and fell in love with the Lord at an early age. Family bike ride, had my older brother kind of share the gospel with me, and the Lord just, as you know from scripture, just kind of softened the heart and caused it to take root. And so that formulates and shapes the rest of your life. And so then growing up in sports and deciding, hey, what's a way I can impact the kingdom most effectively, and feeling like maybe being a football coach is that method. Billy Graham has a quote. He says that a coach can impact more people in a year than most people do in a lifetime. And, it puts in perspective on, right here, this example right here is there's a lot of positions out there that maybe make a little bit more money, maybe a little bit more glamorous. But if it really is a position of impact, then it needs to be filled with men and women who love the Lord. Either way, they're going to impact. They're going to impact for good or for evil. And so we want to make sure that we can get as many God-fearing and obedient men and women in that profession as possible. And so my journey started at Abilene Christian University as a grad assistant. I've been at multiple high schools throughout the state of Texas. Ended up at Lubbock in 2016. Yeah. I have a beautiful, wonderful wife, Autumn Softley. We've been married 14 years. I have 4 kids, 10, 8, 6, and 4. Come on. And we have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember 2019, we got to go to playoffs and lost in the first round. But you've been to state several times. I think you won state a couple years ago, right?
That's right.
So what was that experience like, getting to go to state, all of that good stuff? I want to hop into some other things, but I'm honestly interested. What was the mindset? Because up till that point, before I got to Lubbock Christian, you guys have been making playoff runs. You guys have been going to nearing state. I think, was this the first time going to state a couple years ago?
Yeah, so we went to state in 2019, and we won it. We went again in 2022 and won it, and then we've been a Final Four. I think we've been 4 years in a row in the Final Four.
Yeah. So what is the message, the mentality that you're preaching, not just to the players, but to the other coaches around you? Because that's the other thing for you. You're not just leading your own family. You're leading these boys who are coming into the program, right? Then you're also leading the coaches around you. Yeah. And the natural, instinct to feel is you get those nerves. I remember playing in our playoff game. I remember before every game, I would always get those, that nervous feeling of, not that I'm not confident in my ability, but up until the first play, it's like, I don't know how this is going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's the excitement. So what's your message that you're preaching to the players, you're preaching to the coaches?
The beauty of it is it's the same thing on repeat every year. It's just you're rebuilding the culture.
Yep.
You're rebuilding the mindset. The foundation is going to be consistent. It has to be. We call that a Christ-centered culture. But even in the scheme, who you are as a play caller, all those things have to be adjusted to the locker room, to the talent you have in your collective group that year. And then what we talk about as a max out is a max out is whatever you do, work at it with all your hearts, working for the Lord, not for man. It's Colossians 3:23. And what does that look like as a football coach? Well, it looks like harnessing the collective talent of the coaches and the players, realizing that there's an opponent, there's a schedule, there's weather and circumstances, and then coming up with a strategy and a plan that best suits the opportunity to max out those talents. And so the beauty is it's fun to look back and see the success and how we've built it over the years and the way we've been fortunate and the kids that have come through. But the truth is like for this year, it's the exact same standard and expectations as it was back then. And if you take care of what we say, the 3 G's, gospel, growth, and greatness, if you take care of the first 2 G's of gospel and growth, greatness takes care of itself.
Right.
And so that's the focus.
Yeah. I think the part that I'm reminded of is even talking about 3 G's, max out. One of the principles that you taught me that I've taken into life now, preached it, is control what you can control and give God the rest.
That's right.
You know, I think when you're living a life of a max out and you're going all out for whether that's your profession, your job, you're playing a sport, you're in the gym, or just your relationship with God in general, I think I'm preaching a message later on tonight to our young adults called At Midnight. And it's all about Paul and Silas whenever they were locked up. And, you know, Paul had received this vision to go to Macedonia, to go and preach the gospel. As soon as he gets there, he gets locked up in prison. So immediately you can only assume that for the terms that we're using, hey man, I'm going to go max out in Macedonia. I'm excited. I'm going to go preach the gospel. Then I get there. Things aren't going the way that I thought. He could have had a poor attitude because now there's unfinished business.
Absolutely.
So how, you know, the question that I'm preaching tonight is living a life of fulfillment from God, not fulfillment from finished work. Because, you know, if you're waiting on that next car for you to be fulfilled, if you're waiting on winning that next game to be fulfilled, if you're waiting on winning state to be fulfilled, man, that's going to be a pretty sad, that's going to be a pretty unhappy life.
That's right.
Because you're living a fulfilled life based off of finished works or things just going right. So in your profession, how have you been able to incorporate some of these values that you've taught me, that you've taught some of the other football players coming into the program? How do you incorporate that into your everyday life? And do you find it a struggle sometimes to live out what you've been coaching, what you've been teaching?
Yeah, I'll start with the second part is absolutely there's a struggle. Every day is a struggle, right? You know, when the spirit descends and is at war with the flesh, it's a constant struggle.
Right.
Coaching is a hard profession. It can be long hours and everybody gets a chance to know your win-loss record and they can question every decision. There's not many professions like that in the world. Being a pastor is not too dissimilar. I've heard it said that the 2 toughest people groups to teach are teenagers and religious people. And the thought is because those people both think they know everything. Right. And so I just put them together and went to a religious school, right? And teach religious teenagers, right? But the fact is yes, every day is a challenge. There's no doubt. As you grow and mature in your faith and you become more and more like Christ in sanctification, you hope that, you know, there's a little bit of, you're on to new struggles, different struggles, but the struggle remains. What I like that you mentioned there is a key word for me that I talk about a lot is fulfillment, joy, satisfaction, contentment, all in that same kind of synonymous vein. And the fact is you operating out of a position of fulfillment gives you the freedom to be your best, to max out. If you are trying to achieve, you have to check this box to become a success. Well, what you'll find out is even if you check that box, it's going to be unfulfilling.
Right.
There's a legendary Tom Brady interview on 60 Minutes. It's not meant to be ministry, but it is ministry. I use it all the time. And Tom Brady's sitting there. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He has the richest contract in NFL history, and he's married to a supermodel.
Yeah.
It's like when you're sleeping in my upstairs bunk bed, and I'm tossing a tennis ball to the roof, and I'm dreaming. Those are the things I'm dreaming about. Is like, Lord, can I get these boxes checked?
Right.
Tom Brady's sitting in the interview chair with those boxes checked, and he says to the host, and he says, "Why do I feel like there's something more?"
Right.
And the host says, "Well, what is it?" And he's like, "Gosh, I wish I knew." And the whole point is what we're talking about right here is if you don't know the Lord, it doesn't matter if you achieve all that this world has to offer.
Right.
It's empty, right? And there's verses on that, right? Is you may gain the whole world and you're going to forfeit your very soul. And deep inside of us, we know that's true, but man, that shiny fruit looks tempting, or that car or that job. And so it is a constant battle to pursue, starting every day on my knees of, Lord, you are enough. You know, in you I find fulfillment. David says in the Psalms, return to me the joy of my salvation. Basically saying joy, satisfaction, fulfillment, they're found only in you, Lord. Let me start there, and then I can operate out of freedom to go make impact in the world.
Right. So, okay, living a life of discipline, because that's something that, I mean, eating the right things, feeling the best that you can feel, because that plays a factor into it. I remember you telling me in high school, like, you're working out not just to get stronger, but it's like when you feel good, you look good, you play better.
That's right.
Right? You feel good, you look good, but it's also stewarding your temple. You're stewarding that your build, you're stewarding your body. So in what you're saying is like, there's always going to be that shiny apple, or there's always going to be those tempting things to get involved in. But I think we often forget that we live in a very temporary world.
Yes.
And those, even at that, those are very temporary things that are going to make you feel good for span of 5 seconds. That's like, you're going to go eat some cake and you're going to feel great for those 5 minutes, but then you're going to feel guilty later because you indulged in something that you know isn't good for your body, versus eating something that is good for you, that's going to be good for you in the long run, which easily translates to your time with the Lord.
That's right.
So being a coach, knowing that, because you don't just oversee the football team, you're overseeing the whole athletic department. So knowing in that you have multiple pieces moving at all times, you still have kids who are involved in sports, you have a wife at home. What does your rhythm look like, and how have you found it hard to shift your rhythm as new seasons come? Yeah,
rhythms are key, and that's a word we use, is getting into our rhythms. And I am a little bit more type A, regimented, structured, and so I think that helps.
Sure.
I can't imagine how you do it, kind of being willy-nilly.
Yeah. So
I think sitting down with my wife, and in my example, we try to go on evening walks, and even if it's 5 minutes. But one, your body's moving. We can get into some exercise and talking about how the body works and just how you think more clearly. We're going on a walk, and what we're doing is we're connecting, but we're also debriefing the day. What we're talking about is the season of life we're about to enter into. So I divide up my year into 4 seasons, and we have different roles and responsibilities. I have different tasks and commitments that I have on different days of the week based on the season, and just making sure she's in line. She gets a voice at the table to ask questions. If there's ever a time where she feels like that my priorities are out of whack because of time commitments, she has to have the authority. I have to give her the authority to be able to speak into that.
Right.
And as one flesh, as my co-heir, like, she has the ability to say, hold on, there seems to be an issue here, like, or I haven't seen you in X, or the kids need you, like, say my daughter's about to become a teenager. She has different needs from you than she used to.
Right.
How are you going to adapt and change the rhythms to fulfill your responsibilities? And so those are really, really crucial. And there's a lot we can get into. The biggest thing, obviously, is who I am eternally in my identity has to be primary.
Right.
Then my primary earthly relationship with my wife, that's right there underneath of that. And then my kids, and then the ministry.
Yeah.
And so it's got to flow in that order. And again, being regimented, constantly thinking about these things. No, time does not always equal it's not always equal amongst the 4 areas. You know,
Yeah.
the ministry, i.e. the calling, the career, that takes a lot of time. But the kids can still feel like they are primary above the ministry and calling, even with a limited amount of time, because of the quality of that time, because of the purpose of our discussions and those rhythms that we talked
Right.
about. So all that to say is getting in alignment with the Lord, getting in alignment with your spouse, and letting your kids see the journey and have a picture of the ministry. I think it's crucial for a productive, fulfilled life for me. I think it's crucial for a developed life and household for my kids, and for them to grow up and see what it is to be a godly man and godly woman.
Yeah, you're setting up healthy rhythms. And I remember when I had first transferred, we had the conversation. I got to meet with you and Coach Dude. Shout out Coach Dude.
Mhm.
I know he's not at LC anymore. He's on doing some farming.
Oh yeah,
Farmer Dude.
Yep,
there we
that's
go.
right.
But I remember we sat down, we had the conversation, and you said a couple things that really stuck out to me that I remember this clearly, and now fixing to be 25, I understand it in a different level than I did as an 18-year-old. You looked at my dad and you said, I don't know if he'll be a better football player if he comes to Lubbock Christian, but what I can promise you is he'll be a better man whenever he leaves this program, when he leaves this school. And looking back now, there's been times in my life going through hardships, not knowing and understanding what is it going to look like, what's life going to look like. Because for me, the realest thing that I had experienced as far as transition was transferring. I went from a 6A high school coming down to a private school. I don't know anyone. You didn't know me. I didn't know you. And then the funnier side to that was you said, look, do you want to play football during Thanksgiving? And I'm
there's
like,
only one team that's going to do it.
You know what? I'm game for that, Coach. Sure. But I remember those things, and now being where I'm at now, I can honestly say that because of certain things that I learned back then, it's helped me to shift my rhythms now to be who I need to be for those who need me the most, or those who are around me. I have staff members who are trusting that I'm going to bring my A game every single day, that I'm going to max out every single day, that I'm going to prepare them, that I'm going to lead them. Times have definitely changed. I went from 18 years old being a football player, and now I'm an executive at a high level church, and God's been faithful. God's been good. But I think the other side of that is what you taught me was don't get so caught up in all of this. Because I remember coming and playing, I'm like, man, I already know this stuff, or I can do this, or I can do that. And I had a bad attitude. I mean, just honest, as an 18-year-old, bad attitude, not sure what to do, not sure what to think. It's a smaller school, but ultimately I think we had a conversation where you brought me back down to humanity. Like, hey, listen, I get all of that. How about you just try it my way for just a second?
That's right.
And you were a coach to me. Whereas an 18-year-old, I'm probably mad. I'm probably frustrated. I'm probably going home. I'm like, that guy don't know anything. But now being in a spot of saying, thank God that I had someone that cared about me, not just as a player, but as a man, to prepare me for, look, buddy, life's not always going to be great. You're not always going to get handed the things that you're going to enjoy, but you can choose to make the most of where you're at in this season. And so that's one of the things, Coach, that has really stuck out to me, that as I've grown, is getting to use that principle as transitions come. And so I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this, because you did teach me this. This is something that I've preached, and I'd love for you to even share where your heart was on it when you shared it with us, is the 4 F's.
Sure.
So I'm constantly preaching that. I use that all the time because I think a lot of us, the 4 F's is fess it, fix it, forget it, move on in freedom. And I think a lot of us, the hardest part, once you get past the fess it, is the forget it. A lot of us stay hooked up longer on our past and what we did wrong. For football players, for high schoolers, it might be, man, I messed up the last play, or I did this, or I didn't do this, or I missed an assignment, or I missed a block, or I missed a key read, whatever it is. Because for me at that time, the biggest thing going on in my life is high school and football.
That's right.
So growing up, now being an adult, realizing the world is a mean world, what do the 4 F's mean? Where did you get that from?
Sure.
And how can people in any profession, in any line, or even just in their day-to-day, what does that look like, and how can they apply it?
Well, the first thing is, if you were in my office now as a transfer, I'd tell you I can guarantee we'd make you a better football player too. We got facilities, we got staff, we got.
Oh, the locker room's 10 times better than whenever I was there.
What we can provide now, we're good.
Yep.
The 4 Fs. I steal a lot. I think good teachers and artists steal a lot from other good teachers and artists. And so I'm at a point now in my career where I don't even remember where I've stolen half of the wisdom, right?
Sure.
But some mentor somewhere. I really think the F's, that may have just been, I'm always trying to make things really simple for me. And as I'm going down and I'm thinking, how would I process this if I taught my son? And how would I teach myself? And does this translate into multiple career paths and venues? And that's kind of where we developed the 4 F's. And so the first thought is, you've got to own what happened. We play the victim card in this world so often.
Yeah.
We talk really clearly about no victim mentality, right? And we have a couple life lessons. Life lesson number 2 is life's not fair, and thank God it's not fair. Like, it's not fair to our advantage.
Yeah.
The only unfair thing that really happened was the cross.
Right.
Because we think we deserve good things, and we don't. We're missed on that. So the point is hey, life's not fair, but you know what? It's actually not fair to our advantage. So don't complain.
Yeah.
Because you've got it really good. You've got Jesus. What else you need?
Right.
And so we start there with when something goes wrong, ownership. Point the thumb, not the finger. No victim mentality. And so we just start with, hey, I messed up. I fess it. I messed up. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. Well, that's great. That's a good start. That's good. You should take ownership. But if you don't fix it, the fessing means nothing. Right? It's just hypocritical. So there has to be a change. There has to be a fix to it. And so that's where then the action and the ownership comes in is, okay, I did this. I apologize. To fix it, I will do this. Or to keep it from happening again, I will do this. These are the steps I'm going to take. Practical wisdom, coaching. And then the forget it is saying, forget it and the freedom really go hand in hand is saying, what I meant, I said, what I said, I meant. I fessed it, I fixed it, and now I'm going to Galatians 5. I'm going to move on in freedom. It's for freedom that Christ has set us free. Yep. It does me no good to say I'm sorry and then keep beating myself down with these bags of sin, and I'm carrying them around. They're weighing me down. They're slowing me down. Woe is me. I'm back to playing the victim again. Right. So you've got to be able to drop it and move on in freedom. We give a physical reminder. We 2 clap, and that just means I'm giving it up. Like, I fessed it. I fixed it. I'm giving it up. There's different things you fess, fix, and move on in freedom is there's sins and there's mistakes. And not all mistakes are sins. Sometimes you make a wrong read. You got to take ownership of that. But sometimes it's, you know what, I dropped the ball, and I didn't just drop the ball. I dropped the ball because I was scared. I dropped the ball because my mind was wandering because of fear or because of ego or pride. And so we try to get to the heart of that. What we're trying to do is build men. We're trying to use the game of football, something that you walk in and love. And we're trying to say, okay, we like this too, but ultimately this is not fulfilling. So let us use this to teach about what is fulfilling. Right. And so we're going to use that as a method to grow up young men and Lord willing, kingdom men. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the value that is so vital, that's so important, is you're building kingdom men, because same thing that you shared that day, you're raising men that are going to be better men for their families, better husbands, people. I mean, if I'm the only one, Coach, I hope that you realize the value that you instilled that day in that office, in that room, because we had multiple conversations. Sometimes was it about, typical guy stuff of, hey man, I like this girl. What's your opinion on this? Or what should I do? Or, hey, what's life look like after high school? And then even to the point of now still having that relationship, still maintaining that of, I'll never forget this. And I don't know if you meant it this way or not, but the way that you said it was, anytime you ever need anything, my door is open.
That's right.
And I remember as a high schooler walking in, that door is open. We talk through, hey, I got this question about the Bible. Mm-hmm. I want to know what's your thoughts on it? What's your opinion on it? How should I apply this? Or, Coach, I know that I messed up. I need help. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to get out of this. Mm-hmm. I said this or I did this. What do I do? But being 25 now, looking back, I know whether you meant it that way or not, I know that I always have an open door.
That's right.
And that's honestly part of why you're on this podcast today, is because of those values, those things that you instilled back then. So I want you to know that and hear that.
I appreciate that a ton. And if the best thing we did was we taught you how to lift smarter, eat healthier, play better football, and win some games, man, ultimately that's really temporal. You know, I mean, that lacks true fulfillment.
Sure.
Like, look, if you put time on the clock and you spot the ball, we're going to compete to be victorious.
Right.
But ultimately, it's not going to sit on the throne. And that what's on the throne, what matters most, that primary identity, we've got to keep that always in perspective.
Yep.
Because football is going to pass away.
Yeah.
Your successes, your accolades. Nobody cares if, you know, hey, I was all district, or I threw for 4,000 yards in high school. It's like, man, you're 40. Like, move on.
Move on.
But what matters is what I learned along the way, the man I am today because of it. And so what I teach my players, we talk about what's your most important ability. It's your availability. It's the ability to be ready on Friday nights.
That's good.
So many teams, we grind our kids into a pulp and then they're injured on Friday nights. Well, that's not wise. Or we haven't prepared them, and when the lights come on, they're not ready for the moment. Well, guess what? It's the same thing off the field. Is when I'm telling you, hey, my most important ability to you is my availability.
Right.
Like when you're a 17-year-old and you're going through stuff,
right?
We can't decide at what time of the day you have your problems. Hey, no, Hunter, come back in an hour. We can't have your problem right now. I'm busy. Come back in an hour. It's just like being a dad.
Yeah.
The most important thing my kid has, the most important ability that I can give to my kids is my availability.
Right.
And so when they need daddy, when you need coach, when people need a pastor, that's a hard part about the job, but you know what? We signed up for it. Yeah. And we need to be available to people in their time of need. When you look at Jesus and the life and the ministry he had, so much of his ministry was done in the interruption. He's on his way from here to here. Yep. He's getting pulled aside. And again, type A guy, I like hitting my, if I say we're showing up at 5:36, we're showing up at 5:36. Yeah. We need to be at that gas station. We need to get in and out in 2 minutes, and we're on the bus and we're going. But the fact is there's also wisdom in deferring to, like, okay, Lord, this interruption may be you showing me ministry opportunities. I need to be available to your leading in this moment.
Right. What would you say, in your opinion, from a coaching standpoint, when you are trying to coach someone who's not very coachable? I have my opinions on what someone uncoachable doesn't look like, but from someone who's been doing it, actually coaching, you're coaching in the weight room, you're coaching on and off the field, what would you say to someone who's asking you, how do I get coachable, or how do I remain coachable? What does being coachable look like? Okay, so I'll start with that one. Yeah, so being coachable is having ears to hear. Yep.
You know, I think it's having a humble heart that says, I want to listen to what you're teaching and selling, and I'm going to respond appropriately. Being coachable, I'm open-handed, I'm hearing you, I'm receiving, and I'm going to put it into action, the fix-it portion of it. Dealing with non-coachable people, how do you handle them? Well, what I teach my staff is you keep it real simple. Yeah. Because it doesn't do you any good to deliver this great sermon, this great teaching lab, when they don't have ears to hear and they're not hearing it. You just wasted all that water, all that good juice. And so instead, keep it simple, make it practical, give it repeatable, and then you do your best to continue to love on them and let the Lord, we're praying about the Lord softening and moving the heart. Right. Because it's all a spiritual battle. I've got to, as a student, submit to your leadership. And I got to trust. That's a big thing you said earlier, is at some point you had to trust me and say, okay, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to do it your way. That's all of life. So much of Scripture is talking about obedience. Obedience is a great way we communicate love. And when you're a young man and you think you know better, one of the great challenges of sports and of ministry is am I going to submit to authority? Ultimately, we all submit to authority. Right. Everybody submits to authority. The president submits to authority with the branches of government, right? As a man, I'm going to be submissive to my primary authority, and then I'm going to be a great servant or underling of my earthly authorities. And I'm going to serve the police well. I'm going to honor my pastor. I'm going to honor my father and mother. I'm going to honor my coach and my boss. Like, all of this comes down to the heart. And it's the same thing with being coachable and not being coachable. And so if we find ourselves complaining about the government or the pastor or coach or my boss, man, I would just tell you to shine the light on our hearts right here, is how coachable are we being in life? Because it's the same. Right. Well, it's like what you're saying. You're always going to have that distraction.
You're always going to have that interruption.
Mhm.
You're always going to have circumstances you weren't expecting. I mean, like we were saying earlier, Paul and Silas.
Mhm.
Paul didn't go to Macedonia expecting the interruption. He didn't go there.
That's right.
He went there on a mission, on assignment. He had one goal in mind. He thought, hey, this is how it's going to go. And same thing in football. I mean, you're going, this is how we think that it's going to go.
That's right.
Then you get thrown a curveball. You weren't expecting this. You weren't expecting that. Someone gets hurt, or they've changed up their playbook a little bit. And so I remember in moments like that of, hey, stay the course. Do what you control, what you can control, give God the rest. Control what you can control. And I think that the message for those out there today is you cannot wait till the mission's complete. You cannot wait until there's a point that's scored. You cannot wait for the job opportunity to arise. You cannot wait for the new car. You can't wait for the new house. You got to find fulfillment in God now.
That's right.
Because these things are only temporal.
Right. Yeah, and I would say that's what separates good to great, to be honest. Now, this is a little bit of a worldly standard, but it still fits. But what separates good to great are those that handle the curveballs.
Right.
So we're in the middle of the second quarter, and all of a sudden we're like, man, this game is not unfolding how we thought. Okay, well, who's going to handle this circumstantially different task better?
Right.
And it's the same in life is, man, I thought by now I'd achieve this, or I thought by now I'd be here. Okay. Well, nothing less important than the score at halftime, man. It's halftime.
Right.
Like, what are you doing moving forward? Who is going to handle this better? Who's going to control what they can control, keep the main thing the main thing?
Yep.
Continue to pursue the Lord and his edicts for our life, and let those temporary things fall where they may, because that's what makes all the difference. You talk about epic comebacks in life or epic comebacks in the game.
Yeah.
It's people that truly stayed the course. They handled the curveballs well. They controlled what they could control. They maxed out the moments, and all of a sudden the scoreboard took care of itself.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. This would be kind of our wrap-up question, but in that, I remember at halftime, we make halftime adjustments. So how do you keep yourself in a spot, especially for you being, hey, this is the way that it's going to be at 5:36. We're going to stop at this gas station. Right. We're doing. So how do you maintain this place in your heart to know there's going to have to be adjustments? Because I think a lot of us, that's where a lot of our downfall starts, is we're not prepped. We had it going, hey, this is how it's going to go. This is the way that it's going to be. And when it doesn't go that way, it's the people that don't know how to adjust on the fly that we start seeing them veer off or crash, or there's a downfall. Yeah. So what would you say in those moments, knowing that not everything's going to go the way that you had hoped? How do you maintain this peace on the inside of you to know that you're going to have to make adjustments?
I think it comes back to that contentment and that authority that we talked about earlier. Is there's this thought of, all right, Lord, I committed my life to you. I gave you the pen to write the story that you see fit for your glory. Then I've got to trust you with the authority that I've given you.
Yeah.
And there is so much from the world in terms of comparison, and we spend too much time looking over the fence at somebody else's grass. Like, the grass is greenest where you water it, right? And so the envy is a killer from the beginning, feeling like God's holding out on us. It comes back down to those basics of, Lord, I trust you as my authority in my life. I want to be faithful with the things you've given me to be faithful with, to max out the roles and the lives and the opportunities you've given me. And I saw this going differently. Like, we can acknowledge that. I saw this going differently, but ultimately, if what I get in the end of this is Jesus, then I'll take that. So there's a little bit of a attitude of gratitude in the midst of the hardship of, hey, life is not fair. Right. I knew that. I know that. I preach that to myself. And you know what? Thank God it's not. It's flipping my mind to, even though there's rain falling, Lord God, you're good. You're good in the rain. You're good in the dry seasons. You're worthy of praise and honor. And would you help me keep my eyes on you in the midst of all of these life's distractions?
Yeah, I think that for me, all people really, we praise God for the doors that he opens, and sometimes I don't think we praise him enough for the ones that he closes.
There you go, Garth Brooks, right? Come on, let's go.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately it's that attitude of gratitude. That's the key word for what you just said, that I think that the theme of is, Lord, I may not be where I want to be, but thank you, I'm a whole lot further than I used to be. Lord, thank you for shutting this door. Lord, thank you for, because there's a lot of times, I think we're living in this season right now where if you look at the church world, there's a lot of crazy things happening with pastors and exposings. But what I love about the Lord is in all of that, the one thing that I can sit here and say, he's not a mean and angry God. It's actually by the grace of God that he's willing to rip down these strongholds to say, hey, I love you way too much to allow this to be the thing that I'm not going to be in a relationship with you over.
That's right.
I love you way too much to allow this platform gain you influence than rather, and lose your heart in the middle of it, rather than not have your heart at all, So it's one of those things that I think that taking these principles, where as an 18-year-old, I thought, man, these are some great football terms, or these are great for the season now. But looking back and where I'm going and hard seasons that I've experienced is to realize maybe Coach Softley wasn't as crazy as I thought he was. But I think the whole goal and purpose of what I wanted to share with today is because I think a lot of people hear from inside the church doors and not enough of them hear from, because at the end of the day, me and you, professions, they're actually not that different at all. Right? It's just just where the building is at.
That's
it's
right.
just where the field is at. And so ultimately, I think where we get in trouble is we limit it to one way, but realizing that in every aspect of life, whether you're a coach, whether you're working at a grocery store, you're a doctor, you're a pilot, you're doing whatever, that you can still apply these principles.
That's right.
Wherever you're at.
That's
but
right.
I think ultimately, these are great principles to have just in life to carry forever and ever and ever. And ultimately, Coach, my goal today was to expand that to a whole lot of people rather than just high schoolers hearing it. Not to say that, there's not any value there, because 100% there is. I mean, you see some of the fruit of that today, hopefully.
Right.
But to show others that, hey, there's some values. It takes me back. I know we're running out of time. But it's like those little songs that you hear growing up, Jesus loves me, in those moments where you feel like, hey, Jesus doesn't love me. Do I have purpose? Is he actually for me? It's going back to the basics of what you learned a long time ago to sit here and say, no, Jesus loves me.
That's
This
right.
I know, for the Bible tells me
That's
so.
right.
It's as simple as going back that, man, I wasn't expecting this transition. I wasn't expecting this move. I wasn't expecting this thing to happen or this opportunity to go away. Okay, well, control what you can control. You can control your attitude, have an attitude of gratitude. Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but thank you for being in the middle of it, and move on.
That's right.
It's max out wherever you're at in every single moment. Those moments whenever you completely blow it. All right, man. Well, identify it, fess it, fix it, forget it, move on, and freedom. All of these little things that it's an honor to sit here and say, I'm going to get emotional. I'm a crybaby. Things have changed a lot since high school, Coach. I'm a crybaby. No, you know what? I was probably a crybaby in high school too. But it's an honor to sit here and know that I had a man and a coach like you to be able to instill some of these values in my life that I honor you with, and the legacy that you're setting, whether the Lord calls you away one day or you're in Lubbock, Texas for the rest of your life. That you at least know that there is legacy in the things that you're saying, in that if you ever wonder at times, is this just hitting deaf ears? Is it falling to the floor? Coach, I'll be the one out of all the others, if they don't, to make sure that those words don't go unheard, because they definitely hold value, and what you do holds value. You're building men and instilling values and all sorts of people. So I really appreciate having you on the podcast today, taking time. I know you're a busy guy, but Coach, it really does mean a lot. I'm very grateful for the impact you had on my life.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you having me on too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, for all my Corner Talk family out there, you guys go ahead, like, share, subscribe, share this with someone that you feel could easily be impacted by this. And till next time, we love you guys so much, and we'll see you then. Hey everyone, Hunter Turnbow here, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us for Corner Talk Podcast. I hope that it encouraged you and empowered you. Make sure that you guys share this with someone, because hopefully it can encourage them and empower them as well. But till next time, we love you guys so much.